Hi everyone, Aiden here at the trailer. Today we're taking a look at and showing you how to install these Pewag all-square snow tire chains with cam tensioners on our 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 2500. This is going to be a pretty large and aggressive chain. The first thing you want to do is get them laid out and make sure that nothing's tangled up. After that, we can go ahead and check the cross sections of the chain, and these cross links have a smooth side down on the bottom and a more hooked end that's a bit more abrasive. We want that hooked end facing up, away from the tire, and then we want our cams to be on the outside of the chain so they're accessible once the chain is on the tire. After that, we can grab the chain by the middle and drape it over top the tire. When you're doing this, just be careful to not hit your vehicle, but then also keep it all centered up. So we want to try to have this centered front to back as well as side to side, and make sure that nothing gets too tangled up as you're doing this. You want the chain to sit relatively even on there. Right about there, I'd say, is probably looking pretty good for us. And once you're happy with it, you can go to the back of the tire to make your first connection. Now, when you're doing this, there's going to be a hooked end over by me, right here, and then a series of free links over by you. Now, when you're doing this, make sure it doesn't get tangled up. And you want to join these two ends together. You don't necessarily have to go to the very end link. I'm actually going to probably go for the third one right here. Basically, you just want to try this out at home in your driveway once or twice to get a feel for it, because there will be a certain link for your tire that works better than the others. And after kind of adjusting this, I'm actually going to go for the second link, just based on some of the other tire chains we've tested today. I think that will give us the best fit, but we'll see. We'll go around front and check out how it's fitting. Now, up front, it's going to be the same deal. Hook and free links. I'm just going to go for the second, and right away, I'm noticing this is very loose. So I can try to go for a tighter link, and from there, we'll at least see what the cams do. Use the included tool to slot in and turn those cams to take out some of the slack. And right now we're still getting a very loose fit. So I'm actually going to undo these, tighten up the link in the back, and just repeat this process to see if we can get a better fit. Again, this is why we want to do this before we get into that situation where we need the tire chains, because out in the elements this could be a bit frustrating doing all this trial and error. So I'm going to tighten up the back here by 2 or 3 links and see what that does. And with all of this, I would maybe recommend having something to tie up the excess chain. So what I mean by that, when I link it here, we've got these links just kind of hanging out. I would have a way to zip tie it or just secure it up so it's not banging around, especially on the back end. We don't want any of that interfering with our vehicle. Now from here, I'm definitely feeling more tension as I turn the cams. And this last one, right about there, I'm feeling much better with that fit. So that's a nice thing about the cams, is they give you some fine-tuning adjustment in addition to those hooks, so you can get a proper fit for your tire. From here, I'm going to add a rubber tensioner. It's not included with the kit, but we always recommend adding them. You want to do this relatively evenly in a star-shaped pattern around the chain to provide a more constant source of tension and as an added layer of security. If you want to pick up a pair of these, you can find them in the related parts section down on the page you're on right now. And I don't like to put them on the sections with the cam tensioners just because I don't want them putting extra pressure there. So right about there is looking pretty okay. I'd maybe move this up a little bit, but otherwise you're good to go ahead and install the other side and drive over them a few times. Come out and check on them, and chances are things have probably settled in a little bit. If they have, you're probably going to need to make some tightening adjustments, and after that, you're good to hit the road. Now, with these, it's going to be a square-shaped link, and you can see that really well sitting on the tire right now. That hard edge is going to bite into deeper ice and help break it up. So if you are in really icy conditions, this is going to be a little bit more aggressive. That ladder pattern style is going to be good for starts and stops. Although with that and the larger link size, that 7mm link, it is going to be a bumpier ride, which if you're worried about traction is probably not a concern for you. It's really just about getting out of that tricky situation. It's going to be a manganese nickel alloy construction, which compared to a low carbon steel is going to be a bit more durable and corrosion resistant. So if you're looking for a heavy duty chain that can last for multiple seasons, this kind of chain is definitely the place to look. Now with this, it does come with a bag. And although this is better than some of the canvas bags that other chains come in, it's still not my favorite. These still have a tendency to rip over time, and they're not super durable. Plus, with this, it's not going to be really weather resistant. I always recommend picking up a plastic tote to keep them in, just because it's a little more durable, easier to put the chains back in because you don't have to hold the bag open, things like that. Plus, if you're going to be using them for a long period of time, it's good to have a good way to store them. And aside from that, I think if you're looking at a pretty heavy-duty pair of chains like this, I think it's a good way to go. I like having those cams to do the fine-tuning adjustment to get the proper fit for our tire, and I think it's going to work well for your Silverado. Thanks for watching.